What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here on the Samuraii Sports Network, and today we're going to be talking about a couple of things. We're going to have one of two videos. This should be one going out at around 4 o'clock is when this should go public. And then the second video, if you've already read the title of this and everything like that, will be out at 5:30. So if you don't want to watch this video, if you don't want to sit through it, then just skip along and go, and you can wait till 5:30. Or if you want to watch it and then you don't like my opinion on anything or whatever, or that's the case, unsubscribe, do what you need. But this is something that I feel like I should talk about. Not necessarily as, an issue that, pertains to me specifically, but something that, is kind of a huge issue right now in the NFL and something that we should all address. So, yesterday, the NFL went live with their new policy on the national anthem, pretty much saying that we want our players to stand and that we want our players to stand. We want them to, if you're not going to stand, stay in the locker room. If you kneel or blah, 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 anything like that with the anthem, we're going to find the team. And it was really interesting. There were a couple presidents and CEOs as well as owners who said that they would pay the fines for their players if they did in fact kneel, which is something very interesting. I think it might have been I think it was the Jets president or something like that. I'm pretty sure it was him or CEO, whatever the name was, but I'm pretty sure it was from the Jets. And then Jed York abstained from the vote, which instead of it being 31-1, it was 31-0, as he pretty much abstained from the vote, which was something a little interesting to me as well. But I've seen many arguments and many things coming out since then, and before that, when it was even teased the morning before, on Tuesday, and everything was kind of out of whack and everyone was talking about it. And there was something very interesting today that I saw on the Dan Patrick show that kind of made more sense and opened a lot of things up, where in terms of how people have been talking about the situation, it kind of shed light on both sides of the spectrum, I guess you could say. And we're going to go over both sides then. So the first side is the obvious one, which is a lot of people don't like the fact that they're kneeling and that they're disrespecting their flag. And a lot of people think you're disrespecting the anthem and you should never do that. You're disrespecting the military. You don't like the military. A lot of, to put it into political terms, a lot of far right leaning people especially have went to the fact that you are disrespecting the military, you hate the police, you hate everything, you hate America, you should be deported, you should be gone, we don't want you in our country, my country is what they say, and you're out. And look, that's probably, whether you want to admit it or not, if you're a far right, far left, hard conservative, hard liberal, whatever it is, honestly, this is the only political part of this I'm going to talk about. It's kind of true, and that's what a lot of people have gone to. Even if they're far left liberals, right, and they go straight to the get out of my country, you're disrespecting the military, you hate the military, all these other things. That's what the opinion has been. You hate the military, you hate the people that fought for you to be in this country, you hate this, you hate that, you hate this, you hate that. And the issue with it is that all of those arguments are wrong. If you even took a second to listen to anything about the Colin Kaepernick protests when they originally happened, you know that he was sitting on the bench and someone noticed it, and that's how the whole thing sparked. And he had been doing it for quite some time, but he was sitting and someone noticed it and it went viral on Twitter. From then, a military person, a former, I'm not sure if he was a Marine, but I know he was in the military, sent a letter to Colin Kaepernick, and Kaepernick responded to him. They met, and he asked Kaepernick to kneel as they kneel for fallen soldiers and other things along those lines. He said, instead of sitting, could you kneel? And that's how the whole thing started, with Colin Kaepernick kneeling, coming from a military veteran who said he understood the side, where he went to that you're disrespecting my anthem, my flag, to understanding why he was sitting, and then now why he was kneeling. That it wasn't about the flag, that it wasn't about the military, that it was about police brutality against minorities, African Americans. You can go African Americans, Hispanics, anything along those lines, and that he understood. And he went on all these other TV shows, from Fox to ESPN to everything like that, and said it how it was verbatim, that he asked Kaepernick to kneel, and Kaepernick came to the compromise and said that he would kneel. So it makes sense for anyone who's saying, Oh, he's disrespecting the military. Military personnel is the one that asked him to kneel in the first place. And when it comes to just things in general, as I mentioned, Dan Patrick, he made a statement, the military argument, which if you want to go to the video, I'll link the video down below. I'm going to hit it with timestamps. 2 minutes and 12 seconds is when he starts with the military argument, and talking about how he, like, stuff with his dad and how his dad was a Marine and was in the military. For me, my brother-in-law is a part of the National Guard, or not my brother-in-law. My brother is a part of the National Guard. Both my grandpas were a part of the military. All three technically. So 3 of my grandfathers were a part of the military. It's not something that I guess is light in my family. My grandpa had the whole military burial with the triangle. I don't like the flag and the triangle and stuff like that. I really don't remember it detail by detail. It was when I was a little younger, not now. I think 9 or 10ish around there, maybe a little bit older. But military isn't something for my family where it's like, wow, far out there. And it's something where it was World War II, where it was Vietnam, stuff like that. So it's he had the same argument where it's not like there's a disrespect for the military, and even to understand the side that the players are coming from. Then at 3:35, you talk about Colin Kaepernick and Eric Reid and how they've lost their jobs completely. And whether you want to argue that, Eric Reid is a very, very, very talented safety who doesn't have a job. Whether you want to agree with that or not, he is. Eric Reid is a fantastically talented safety, doesn't have a job. Colin Kaepernick, I argued that he doesn't fit in Miami and didn't fit in Miami for 2 reasons. One, I felt like the offense would have to move more mobile. The second reason, and the main reason, was what he said about Fidel Castro and how the Miami community feels about Fidel Castro. If it wasn't for that, Cap would have definitely worked in Miami. You would have had to make some adjustments, but he would have worked. But that one was one block that the owner, Stephen Ross, the GM, Chris Greer, and the coach, Adam Gase, and executive vice president, Mike Tannenbaum, knew would be an issue, is that, and with the big Cuban community that we have here in Miami. So those are, along those lines, right? So that's something that is commented on. Cap should be, at least, if you don't want to say he's a starter, he is a backup quality quarterback in the NFL. People like Christian Hackenberg have jobs right now in the NFL, and Colin Kaepernick doesn't. And Christian Hackenberg sucks, right? So it's just little stuff like that. But I feel like I needed to kind of go over points and talk about it. I'm not one way, I'm not the other. And when it comes to politics, I'm not far left, I'm not far right. I'm very, very dead center in the middle for those lines. And in my opinion, I think that people should just talk and understand and listen to what they are saying, rather than assuming that they hate America, they hate the flag, they hate the veterans, they hate the military, because that's not where their point of view is coming from. And if you took a second of your life to sit down and understand the arguments happening right now and the reason why they're protesting, you would understand fully what is going on and why they need to protest. Peace.